Great. Okay. Hello, everybody. How are you? Great to see you. Thank you for your comments. It's nice when people write, "Hello, Ali. I know you. It's nice to see you." It's very welcoming. It's warm. It's really nice. Thank you so much. You will love this, really. Well, this is about We Are Heroes. And first of all, the title, the name of the book, We Are Heroes. But this is not about superheroes. This is between you and your children. Everybody can become a hero in an everyday classroom, in everyday situations. Okay, this is the motto of the series. And this is a 6 level course for primary, okay? And the main characteristics, like the pillars of the series, are these: real tasks, real communication, and real life skills. Why? I can assure you that your students, through very carefully graded grammar, very carefully graded vocabulary sequences, your students are going to produce small pieces, gradually small pieces of language from the very, very beginning. It's a very communicative series in that respect, very positive because it fosters communication from the very, very first lesson in first grade. And somebody was asking, I hope it's for first and second. Yes, number one is for first because this is an adapted series. And why do I say this? Because very often we have excellent series, but they come from abroad, they come from other countries. And in this segment, when we have between 3 to 5 or 6 periods of English a week, we are not in a bilingual school. And the children we deal with also are special. Our context is special, and the context is to be respected. So the truth is that in these schools, very often we get students, children, who find it very hard to read and write. Very often, in first, they are beginning to read and write in block capitals in their mother tongue. In second, they cannot read and write in English. They are struggling to learn it. And sometimes in third, we find it hard. So this is why we have adapted the series to make it suitable for our context. Florianopolis, Brazil, okay, welcome. We are international, you see. So We Are Heroes is realistic in that respect. It will give you attainable material and highly productive material. How? Let's move on to the second slide. This is the how thing. First of all, through integrating the 4 skills. You are going to have pages for listening and pages for writing, but at the same time, you will see that all the skills are gradually everywhere. We integrate the 4 skills all the time. This means that your students are going to have carefully graded grammar, interesting vocabulary sections, but also speaking and writing, the 2 productive skills, okay? Another pillar in the series is pupil engagement. Before I mentioned the fact that all the activities are doable in the sense that we consider that your classrooms are not a private institute, okay, not just 10 students in a classroom, 30 and sometimes more. So we guarantee that most of the students are going to be able to do the tasks and they are going to be engaged because the topics are interesting, the lessons are dynamic, and the activities are short. Then, something that is important is that the writers are highly experienced and their pedagogy has proved to be very effective. And this has to do with what the writers know, not just about methodology, and of course, not just about English because they are native speakers, but also about cognitive and emotional development of the child. In order to write a book for this segment, it's very important to know, in terms of psychology or pedagogy, what the child can do at each stage. That is cognitive and emotional development. And social emotional development is very often present in this series. You will see how the child is taken good care of all the time. Hello, San Luis. Hello, everybody. Nice to see you all there. No frustration, They will be able to do all the tasks, and you will notice some kind of difference in the sense that the student who is faster will finish before, the student who is stronger will give you perhaps a better use of adjectives, for example, or more fluency, but everybody will be able to interact and to participate naturally. Nowadays, I was speaking about emotional development and emotional skills. It is as important to teach language and the language components, the grammar, vocabulary, and the skills, as to teach the other skills. It's useless to teach grammar and vocabulary if we don't teach our students to feel confident, if we don't allow our students to talk about the difficulties they may have, if we don't allow our students to think of solutions to a certain problem solving, communication, interaction, respecting differences. These are 21st century skills, and they are present. They should be present all the time, and they are present in the stories, in the activities, in a page, in a section that is life skills, okay? And of course, another pillar of the series, and this in a way is Macmillan's philosophy, and we are walking towards that, is Zen, special educational needs. Very often called ZEND with a D too. Hello from Córdoba, hello Salta, good. Special educational needs and sometimes disabilities, okay? We know that in this segment, when you have 30 or 35 students sometimes, we are walking in Argentina towards inclusion, and I think that all over the world we are walking towards inclusion. And inclusion means children who are faster, children who are slower, children who maybe are slower at writing but bright at orals, children who have some kind of visual or difficulty or interpretation difficulty or organization difficulty. Okay, that is Zen. So what are we doing at Macmillan? We cannot write a book for each condition because it would be impossible and we would go bankrupt, definitely. But what we are trying to do is to include in our teachers' books Zen tips. For every lesson in every unit of every level, you will have tips in the teacher's books. And for every unit, you are going to have 2 accommodations. Accommodations are activities that have been adapted to suit children with special needs. What does it mean in primary and basic? Because we cannot consider each of the conditions. But in general, in primary, we talk about reading difficulties or dyslexia, interpretation or understanding or cognitive things, and more emotional things. Usually these children, what they need is a bigger font, more white space on the page, instead of open questions, more multiple choice activities. Sometimes when the question has no frame, visual frame, we need to provide like the word in a rectangle for them to feel the limit, the boundaries, and be able to focus on the word, because sometimes when they have attention problems, they find it difficult to focus on a sentence or on a word because they look at the whole thing. Well, these accommodations are ready for you, the student or the parents, to download and print them. So this means that at the beginning of the year, if you know you're going to have children with difficulties, you can ask the parents to download the booklets, they print it, and they have all those accommodations all ready to use. They are PDFs, okay? So, thank you. Thank you for your comments. Okay, thank you for your comments. Now, another reason why this series is really great is that it comes with a workbook. The workbook goes hand in hand with the student's book. It's a mirror of the student's book, but at the same time, it's full color. And this is very important when we work with children, because if the book is colorful and full of attraction, and then they go to a black and white workbook, wow, it's demotivating. And this way they will not feel that. It looks like another book. And the activities, this is also very important. Although it's a mirror, the activities are never repeated. You are not going to get fill in the blanks in the students and fill in the blanks in the workbook. Never, ever. The workbook, is more game-like, if you like. The workbook is full of critical thinking activities, and all of them are doable, nice, appealing, considering the age of our students. And of course, when they buy the students' book, they buy much more than just a book, because it comes with a code that will give them access to the ebook and all the digital material that Mariela is going to show you in a few minutes, okay? And what about you, the teacher? You know that when you adopt Macmillan, we give you the teacher's book, but it's not just a book. It's much more than a book. It also comes with an access code, and so you will be able to download the audio material, to download the Zen material, to download photocopiable materials, okay? Lots of other things. Mariela is going to show them in a minute as well. And remember that if you work with other teachers or if you are a coordinator and you adopt Macmillan, we can very easily help you via Zoom, or eventually, when we can, we may even go and visit you. But we offer training sessions for teachers, both in the digital section for the digital components or for methodological aspects, okay? So, children in the primary section grow, and they grow like easily, quickly, and the differences are noticeable, all right? So we have to show this in books, and very often teachers tell us, well, in the last years, I would need something different because they are pre-teenagers, okay? So we need all that cognitive and emotional growth to be shown visually in the components of the series. And this is what we have done. This is clearly shown in the settings. The settings change every 2 levels. Levels 1 and 2, the stories take place in a heroes club, with the idea of a club, very English idea, that after school clubs are typical there, and the children go to the after school club, and there they have all types of adventures. And those adventures allow us to teach and practice vocabulary and grammar. Now, as the children grow, let me go down to show you another slide. Now, in the next 2 forms, the children are a little bit older, and you can see that the characters look older. And this time, it's not the Heroes Club. It's not within the school. They walk out into the community, because now everything happens around a community center. Being a member of a community implies being in contact, being aware of what happens to other people, what happens to those around us, what happens to a neighbor who is old and alone, how can I help him or her? So all this is going to give us the opportunity to teach and practice vocabulary and grammar, okay? Everything happens around that community center, again, with the idea of values. Values are all the time present in the stories, in the videos, in the adventures that they go through. And eventually, in the last 2 levels, because they are pre-teenagers, they go virtual, they go digital, and so they have a vlog. That is, they upload things in video formats, okay? And they are in contact with children of the same age in different countries, and this allows them to learn about other cultures, learn about other traditions, learn about things that children in other countries do. So now I invite you to walk through materials, different materials from the different levels. I told you that we have taken good care that level 1 can be used simply, directly, practically in primary 1, in the first grade of the primary school. And this is a lesson from the first level. You see how there is a lot of oral work, there is a lot of visual impact, and you've got all the time this combination, this balance between fantasy and reality, the drawings and the photographs, okay? Why? Because we want the child, for example, when they look at the pizza, to say, wow, I feel like eating that. And the moment they say, wow, that means they are paying attention. And from there, we very easily start teaching. Now, you see clearly how the vocabulary items are presented, not in the form of a banner, but a very visual presentation. And then they are practiced all the time throughout the unit. Okay? Also, if you pay attention, this is unit 4. And so from the second half of the book is going to have words. Very simple words in block capitals. The first part of the book has nothing written there. Why? Because we know they need exposure to the language so that they can start internalizing pronunciation, words, rhythm, intonation, and after that, we'll start with the written part. Very slowly, making sure that everybody can follow. As you can see, the words are not there for them to write on their own. This is why I said very carefully introduced, okay? They have to listen and associate, listen and complete with one letter that is missing, and towards the end of the book. So everybody will be able to do it. Let's go down, and you can see how these are different activities, but with the same vocabulary. This is taken from the book and from the workbook, and you see, this is the workbook. If you look at the second exercise, what you have there, I mentioned critical thinking and game-like activities in the workbook. This is that sequence. So the child here has to write or draw or both. If they cannot write, because we have in first form children who cannot write, and educational therapists that suggest that they should not write. So in that case, they just draw what should be there. Okay? If you have pineapple, tomato, cheese, then here comes the cheese again. Okay, now series, sequences are very important, and they are the beginning of mathematical thinking, and this is cognitive. Okay, and you work to get here, you need to work through stories. Now we will see how. Now we have seen here in the previous slide material from level 1. Very young learners, they are beginning to read and write. Now these children grow, and you see how everything changes. Although the approach is the same, this is from level 3, it becomes age appropriate in that we pitch the level right. We have more vocabulary items in each presentation. This time it's not drawings, it's photos, okay? And it looks different and the children look different. But all the time, you see that the activities that follow are short and there's a lot of talking pair work, but all the time modeled so that they interact in the language unconsciously, which is the way we learn the mother tongue. Let's go on. You see again, as you move on, at the bottom it says finished. So you see how we in a way develop students' autonomy by teaching them that if they have finished, they don't need to start shouting, Miss, I've finished, Miss, because we've got 30 others asking us for help. So if they have finished, here the workbook tells them exactly what they should do. And in the workbook, you see, you also have pair work. They have to listen and complete, but then they have to ask a friend. There is interaction even in the workbook. As regards the multiple intelligences and mixed ability classes, everything has been taken good care of. Everything is graded, gradual, friendly in a way. So the idea is that all the time they've got pictures, all the time they've got a context. They are never on their own. Even the weaker learners will be able to do the activities. And I mentioned stories. In level 1, you see a story with just a few words. This is in the second part of the book. In the first half of the book, nothing has been written. In the second part, the expressions or the parts that have got some kind of language that we are aiming at. The rest is not there because it's to be listened to. All right. We are not focusing on grammar. We are not focusing on the written language in level 1. All right. I also mentioned social and emotional learning, and I also mentioned 21st century skills, life skills. There are, apart from the stories, for example, this one that I mentioned before, there is another page with a section for specifically for life skills, okay? A story that has got some kind of value, but value in terms of action to be imitated, action worth imitating, not just values in the abstract. In this case, a very simple thing that has to do with problem solving. These characters are there and there is one carrot left, but they are 3 or 4, so they should share the carrot or what is left. So they cut it into pieces so that everybody has got the same number of pieces. You see how the idea of sharing goes together with numbers, goes together with all the language they have seen up to now, but all the time there is a value behind it. We should share. Everybody has got the same right. It's for everybody the same. And I also mentioned this question of this balance between fantasy and reality. And here you can see it very clearly. It's the fantasy there, the fantasy in the story with the characters, like a fable where animals talk, and then something very concrete, ice creams, animals, plants. And I can assure you that little children, when they see this, they will say, oh, I want to eat the strawberry ice cream, or no, I'd rather have the chocolate ice cream. And when they react, it's because they are there. We have them in our hands, so we can take advantage of that and teach everything we want. And this is great. Also, the stories. This is a very visual series, and so the stories are animated. Now, the story with these characters are okay for levels 1 and 2 because they believe in this fantasy. But then, as they grow, they need something different, and I will show you later. Okay, the characters also grow as the children grow. And as we advance in the unit, there comes a moment when the unit comes to an end. You have two vocabulary presentations. Gradually, not in the first levels, gradually you have more and more grammar, and you will see in a moment. But there comes a moment when you need to start rounding up. And we start to round up in a very positive way, saying or showing our students what they can do. And to show them what they can do, you have to be positive enough so that they really can do everything you want to show them. So as you can see, this assessment, in a way, or self-assessment section is very positive in that it's sticking stickers, it's completing with very few words, very gradual, and avoiding frustration all the time in a very student-friendly way. And the second part of the assessment has to do with oral production. And so there is a video, okay, visual impact, realistic thing, a video, and then they try to reproduce something from the video, in this case, a pizza or something, and they have to interact. The interaction is short and sweet so that everybody can do it. The important thing is do it. Don't think that because it's short, we can leave it out. It's very important that we should do all the exchanges, all the interaction things that we have, because that is the pillar of the series, communication from the very beginning. We go down. I showed you the first story with very few words. Now, children have grown up. This is level 3, and you see how the story now becomes more complete with a lot of text. The text is going to show the grammar clearly. Now in level 3, we have a grammar section, not before. And all the stories work, first of all, with language and with the grammar and vocabulary clearly. At the same time, we have a lot of values. I told you values are present throughout the unit and throughout the series. And also, stories are very important because they work on this notion of sequence. And sequencing is essential when they narrate, it is essential for paragraph organization, and it is the basis for mathematical thinking. The series or sequence I showed you about the cheese, remember, pineapple, I think it was tomato and cheese, they wouldn't be able to do it if first we hadn't worked on this. Now, in this story, to tell you an example, there is a very young king whose name is Ed, and Ed lives with his mother. Nothing is said about the father. Again, this is important because this would be a single parent family, for example. But of course, because he's the king, he lives in a castle. You can see the castle in the background. He's got a cook or a chef, and he's got two pets. The pets are two parrots. And what do parrots do? They repeat. So the king has a problem. He only eats carrots, carrot cake, carrot soup, carrot everything. The mother, very worried about the king's health, insists that he should try different things, that all the boys in the kingdom eat varied food, and the chef does his best. And every day he brings a dish full of interesting things. But what does the king say? I don't like this. I don't like that. I don't like ice cream. I don't like potatoes. I don't. And what do parrots do? They repeat. So the parrot, one of the parrots will say, the king doesn't like potatoes. The king doesn't like soup. The king doesn't like, which is the perfect context, the most appropriate context to teach he doesn't like, very naturally, very spontaneously. This goes on until one day King Ed gets up, looks at himself in the mirror, and discovers that he's gone orange. His face is orange, his hands are orange. Climax, turning point in the story. What happens? Now the king decides that he will start eating a bit of everything because, after all, his mom was right. So, values in the sense of eating varied food. Values, you must respect or at least listen to your mom. Values, even when you try and eat what you are offered, you can't say, I don't like this, which sounds a bit rude. Values everywhere. And in the middle, the present simple, third person singular. Okay. Of course, you've got reading comprehension activities, both in the students and in the workbook of different types. You have reading comprehension, and also in the workbook, you see it's color, critical thinking. The words that are mentioned, the words that are not mentioned, okay? You see how all the time, and this is level 3, you are working with words at the word or sentence level, and also at a more critical thinking level with pictures, making associations all the time. Pair work even in the workbook. Have you finished to get students' autonomy? Now, as from level 3, I'm sure that you would say, I want grammar. Okay. The problem we have is that in general, students don't revise grammar. They don't study. Very often they are absent. Very often we've got a holiday in between, and so maybe we don't see our students in 10 days. So what we have decided is to include grammar clearly. The grammar has been very, very carefully graded. You see that they never learn, for example, all have and has together. They never learn all the interrogative, negative, and affirmative forms together. Everything is gradual, okay? Bit by bit, slowly, all the time with enough practice. And as from level 3, you've got these two characters, okay? Grammar boy and grammar girl, who have a dialogue. They have a conversation. That conversation is represented visually for the child to associate what they have said with one of the pictures provided so that they understand the concept. And then comes the systematization, the chart that tells them how the grammar works, the formula. And then nicely and sweetly, again, interaction, pair work, or a short grammar exercise. Let's see. Oh, give me a second. Here. Okay. We have taught grammar. And another thing that most teachers want, especially when we teach more than 3 periods of English a week, a very important source of information, source of vocabulary or language in general, is the reading text. And we want and we need varied texts. Texts of different types, of different lengths, about different topics, but at the same time, texts that look appealing. I invite you to look at the pictures there. You see how colorful, how appealing they are. Again, I'm sure that when your children see, for example, number 2, they will say, wow, what's that? An insect? No, it's a cake. I would love to try it. Or no, what? I don't like it. The moment they say that, they are reacting. And that is precisely what we want, reaction. Okay. And of course, varied activities in terms of the text they have dealt with. And you see how from an internet menus or internet recipes, we go to another kind of menu that they have to create. The texts are not authentic, mind you, but they look authentic because thanks to this great design, this looks as if it had been taken from the internet. So it's great. Okay. Again, production, show what, the moment we close the unit, show what you know in terms of vocabulary, show what you know in terms of grammar. And now we watch a video, and if you look at the video, now it's different. It's not the story, the characters look older, the context looks different, and after watching the video, we have to imitate some scene. I know that many teachers say, well, I can't do it. I've got 30. Precisely because you've got 30, you have to do it. It's advisable that you should do it. Maybe with volunteers, maybe from their desks. You have to look for a way. But it's this part that guarantees communication. It's this part that develops one very important part of the 21st century skills. This being able to stand up and speak, being able to negotiate, being able to persuade the listener. I mean, if you look down and speak all like this and very slowly, nobody's going to understand you and nobody's going to appreciate what you say. So you have to help your students grow using the language, but they have to grow in all senses. And talking about growing, you see how texts in general grow together with the students. They become longer, the look is different, they become more complex because the grammar and the vocabulary are more complex. And then we come to the writing skill. And the writing is also very important, but all the time with models. All the time, it's very carefully modeled, it's very carefully guided. The student is never alone. We analyze part by part, we ask questions, we make them imitate. Okay? There is a very interesting writing program. I was mentioning videos, and you see how the story with the animated characters now, children of their same age that interact in different situations. And I was also mentioning the Zen downloadable material. Well, here are 2 examples, okay? In the book or in the workbook, you get longer stories, longer activities. And sometimes the problem we have is that children with special difficulties need a frame, they need a rectangle to help them focus on one thing. And instead of answering very open questions, they may just complete the answer. Okay? And another technique we use is segmentation. Instead of having all the pictures together with 5 questions, okay, 1 picture and the questions, another picture and the questions. In this way, we make the process more gradual and then more attainable for children with special needs. Okay, this is a vocabulary activity. Instead of, we have chopped it so that they cut and match, adding motor skills, cutting and sticking. also helps them concentrate. This is ideal for children with attention disorders, for example. So, all in all, you've got everything you need. We organize focus groups showing teachers the material we are producing while it's being produced so that they give us feedback. And according to that feedback, we try to change what can be changed. If I had to think of adjectives to describe the series, I would say, first of all, it's very dynamic. And if it's dynamic, your children will not get bored. Second, very important, it's very productive. Students speak from the very beginning. And that is important because if they speak, they feel they are learning. It doesn't matter if they are saying, yes, I can, but they feel they are learning. The activities are all attainable, and that is very important. And because of this, you and your students are going to feel safe. The challenge is there, but very well pitched. Nobody will feel frustrated. This is why it's teacher and student friendly. Okay, it's student centered in that all the attention and all the care has been put on the student, avoiding frustration and making them learn. And of course, this requires nowadays more than ever digital components. So Maria is the expert. She will talk about the digital part. Thank you, Elisa. Yes, Maria.
Thank you very much. Hello, everyone, again. Thank you for being here. Let me show you very briefly what are we offering as regards digital content. Yes, because what we want to do is make your life easier. So that's why we are trying to provide you with all the solutions so that you can use in your classes. So we have for teachers, we offer, as Alice said, when you get the teacher's book, you also get a code to access the digital materials. Yes, you know that nowadays, when you get a book or when students buy a book, they not only get just the book, they get other content. Oh, and this is very important to tell parents, especially. Yes, a book is more than just a book. So for teachers, you are going to have an ebook that you can use as a presentation kit in your classes, whether you are in your house, online, remote learning, or face-to-face. And you can use an interactive whiteboard or a computer connected to a projector or a smart TV. It's very friendly, very easy to use. So you will have the pupils and the workbook as a presentation tool. Also, an ebook as a teacher's book, if you want to use it on your mobile, for example, and also the Teacher's Resource Center. And for the students, they are going to get, again, the same, the ebook with pupils and workbook, and also the Pupils Resource Center. Okay, let's move to the next one. This is the presentation tool that you activate on Macmillan digital app. Yes, and you have the audio and the video already embedded, and then you can navigate through the different units as well. Here you also have the videos. Some of the videos Alejandra showed you how they grow the stories with the children. Yes, the animated stories, the show what you know, the life skills sections. Yes, different types of videos. So the visual material is very attractive because it's not always the same characters. Yes, there is a variety of videos. Then you have the presentation tool, the workbook as well, so you can use in your class. This shows you how to navigate through the units. You can use the pages in the small pages at the bottom. You can go to the unit, or you can choose the page that you want to go. That's up to you. What's easier for you, you can use that way. So you can navigate. It's very easy, very friendly. And then you also have the resource center, where you will be able to find a lot of material, a lot of resources for you. Some of them Alejandra already mentioned. You will have the annual planning, the teacher's book also in a PDF format, the songs and karaoke versions, the videos, the links to the videos. If you cannot use the ebook, you can have you can download the animations, the class audios track list, material ready to make copies and hand in to your students, language and vocabulary reinforcement worksheets, seasons worksheets, song sheets, record sheets, presentation work cards, a welcome unit work card, digital flashcards, evaluation rubric, of course, the special education needs worksheets, the answer keys, the tests, yes, a lot of material. These may have a variation according to the level, but in general, this is what you get. So a lot of material ready for you to use in your classes. Here are some examples, yes, the extension worksheets, the reinforcement worksheets, they are from different levels, investigation sheets, yes, functional language in the higher levels, yes. So this is all material that you can download and get ready to use. And it also comes with a test generator. This is an application that comes usually in our international series, but we have also added this feature to We Are Heroes. Teachers love this because it's a way of creating, adapting your own tests. We have different options. Yes, the ready-to-go test, you just download, make copies, and there they are. But you can also create, adapt. Suppose that this is unit 2, and you have listening, reading, writing, and speaking, and you want to test just, I don't know, reading and writing. So you click on those skills, and you choose only that. And then you can also choose the activities that you want to include in your test, and then you save it, and it's ready to use the next time you want to access to it. Yes, and you keep it in my saved test. So this is a very easy tool. That's why I told you we want to make your life easier. Instead of printing, cutting, typing, and doing everything that we teachers usually do, you just can create using this app, the test generator, the test that you want to use. Yes, they already tests that are with the tests which are already uploaded in the Teachers Resource Center. So the test generator is an excellent tool to use. All right, here we have the Pupils Resource Center, because pupils, apart from the ebook, they also have their own resource center with songs and karaoke versions and the track list, and also thinking skills templates ready for them to make copies at home. This again may vary according to the level, but they get something when they activate their own students book code. And well, I think this would be all. I don't know if you have any question. Yes. Well, somebody from Brazil. Yes, you will have access, as Alejandra told you. Yes, Heroes. This is an adaptation that we have prepared here in Argentina. So, is there any questions?
The teacher from Brazil, if you your country and you still need this Zen material anyway, you can contact us and we will surely pass the link.
Yes, of
you.
course.
That's not a problem at all. Maybe the pages don't coincide exactly, but the idea behind the Zen adaptations or Zen accommodations, the idea behind them is that they are suitable for all students. I mean, if a Zen student can do it, all the others should be able to do them as well. So anyway, and it's just 2 activities per unit, so no problem there. Another question, in your opinion, what is best? Because I am working with Hop into English A in 1st grade. Well, Amalia, it depends on how many periods of English you have, because there is an interesting difference. This book comes with a workbook and with a lot of digital material. So it will not be 3 hours will not be enough. If you teach 3 hours a week, hop is your material. If you teach more than three, we are heroes, maybe okay. Okay. Another question, can level 4 be used for fourth grade in their first year of English? This is a difficult question because, I know this is done in some schools, but it's not advisable clearly because the series has a philosophy, and before level 4, you've got three other books that have taught interesting pieces of language. So perhaps it depends on the kind of student you have, on how many students you have, on the context where you teach. Perhaps you may do away with level 1 and move on to level 2 with a lot of revision before. But I would advise you to visit macmillanenglish.com.r or look for all the material there and see, because you have all the contents for each level. So have a look at the contents and see which level suits you. And anyway, you can get in touch with us. I will write my email here. I mean, if after looking at the contents you still have a doubt, you email me and we can get in touch. I am writing the email here.
Yes, because also with level 1, the question is that is prepared for students who are beginning to read and write. So maybe fourth grade, they already know how to read and write. So that would be the tricky part. The digital book is really interesting in these days. Yes, exactly. Yes, and remember that it comes free with the book. Yes, when students get the book or you get the book, you also have the access for the digital. It's not that that is a component that you need to buy separately. It comes together. Yes, with an access code.
Amalia is saying that she only teaches 40 minutes a week, so no, impossible. Impossible. You will not get anywhere. It's much better to use hop in that situation.
Yes. Exactly. Well, thank you.
Any other question? So, well, thank you, Mariela. Thank you, everybody, for being here on a Saturday afternoon. Let's all go and enjoy the rest of the weekend, and you can always get in touch with us, okay? And if you adopt either We Are Heroes or any other book, you can count on us to help you through webinars, okay? Thank you so much.
Thank you, everyone. Bye-bye. Have a nice weekend.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.